Have you ever wondered why, the older we grow, the more lost we seem to feel? Why no matter how hard we try, there are places we'll never truly belong? Why someone who feels so close today can become a stranger tomorrow? There are lessons in life that only reveal themselves when you stand alone, when you fall, when you have nothing left but your own reflection to face. Life never unfolds the way we plan. But it is precisely the wounds, the stumbles, and the farewells that force us to grow up, to awaken. Today I want to share with you the truths no one ever taught you, truths that will make you stronger, more awake, and help you live as the most honest, most powerful version of yourself. Honesty may not bring you many friends, but strangely it always filters out the right ones. The ones who love you for who you truly are, not for the person you pretend to be. Stop worrying about what others think of you. The harsh truth is, everyone is drowning in their own questions and anxieties. When you look in the mirror every morning, do you think about others? Just the same, they're not spending their entire day analyzing you. Every moment you waste comparing yourself to someone else is a precious piece of your life thrown into the void. You see a perfect photo online? Remember, it's a carefully curated moment taken from hundreds of hours, filled with exhaustion, failure, and the parts of life they'll never show you. Don't invest your entire emotional world into anyone, because people change. The one you consider your best friend today might become a stranger tomorrow. Learn to find joy and contentment within yourself. When you need someone else to fill the emptiness inside, that's when you become most vulnerable. Share your journey, the small steps, the growth, the quiet victories. But don't rush to broadcast your goals. Unreached goals invite judgment. The process, however, fuels your motivation to keep going. Don't be afraid of solitude. It's the space where your strength is forged. In solitude, you get to know yourself deeply. You learn who's meant to stay and who's only passing through. And remember, worse than being alone is being surrounded by the wrong people. Those who demand the most from you are often the ones who give you the least. Pay attention to who always needs your help and care, but is never there when you're the one falling apart. Take your responsibilities seriously. Life doesn't reward irresponsibility. But never take yourself too seriously, because you're just another human learning to grow through every wound. Fear is not your enemy. It's the quiet voice telling you that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that you're on the right path. A soldier who doesn't tremble before battle isn't brave. He's simply unaware. Don't make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. As they say, don't get a tattoo when you're sad, and don't destroy something good in a moment of anger. If you place someone on a pedestal, they have no choice but to look down on you. Relationships are sustainable only when both people stand on the same ground, not when one kneels while the other worships. Advice always reflects the giver's point of view. When someone tells you to give up on your dream, it's likely because they've given up on theirs. Listen, but filter wisely. Not every thought in your head needs to be spoken aloud. Words can build or destroy. Sometimes silence is the wisest answer. Don't do anything that would force you to lie later. The truth has a strange habit. It always finds its way to light. Light travels faster than sound. That's why some people appear smart, until they speak. Don't chase happiness in distant places. It's always been inside you, waiting for you to stop running and simply listen. You owe your past nothing, but you owe your present everything. Don't let the past, whether glorious or painful, define who you are forever. Taking care of yourself means understanding that the biggest barriers are the ones you built in your mind. Unlock yourself, and the whole world opens up. Your parents may not have academic degrees, but they carry the wisdom of time. They've been right more often than you think. Listen before you dismiss. Act as though you've been through it all. Not to appear arrogant, but to walk calmly through life's storms. Overthinking is a mental trap. It exaggerates problems, distorts reality, and complicates even the simplest things. Before you get angry, ask yourself, will this matter 10 years from now? If the answer is no, don't waste your precious energy. You only have one body. Don't treat it like it's replaceable. It's the only home you'll live in for life. The louder someone insists they're telling the truth, the more likely they're hiding something. Truth doesn't need to shout, it shows up in actions. All the power you have lies in how you use the present moment. You can't control the past or guarantee the future, but you can choose today. You never truly fail if you're being yourself. Everything fake will eventually fall apart. Don't compare your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. You don't know how many tears hide behind that smile. Missing someone doesn't mean they need to return. Longing is part of growing and letting go. At first, you're drawn to appearances, but eventually you'll realize that values, character, and kindness, these are what raise your children, not looks. Everything comes with a price. No one gets it all. Every achievement costs time, effort, or sacrifice. Never make a promise if you have no intention of keeping it, because a promise to you might just be a fleeting sentence. But to someone else, it might be their only shelter, their last hope to hold on to. You may forget it, but someone else might wait for a lifetime. Going back to your ex is like stepping out of a clean shower and putting on old dirty underwear. You can't expect a relationship that once decayed to suddenly shine just because you wish it would. Sometimes letting go is the greatest act of maturity. Keep your mind open like an artist, ready to see the world in new colors with boundless imagination. But think, fail, and learn like a scientist, logical, objective, and unafraid to experiment. True success comes from the balance between dreaming and reasoning, between creativity and realism. Don't search for your purpose in faraway places, in new cities, jobs, or strangers. Purpose is not something you find. It is something you create, right where you are. And you are the one who gives it meaning that lasts a lifetime. Your entire life can change in a single moment. A meeting, a decision, or even a moment of awakening. Don't take for granted what you have today. Gratitude is the beginning of all good things, and using it wisely is your responsibility. True wealth is not in the number in your bank account, but in the number of experiences you dare to live, to try, to fail, and to savor. A wealthy person has stories to tell, memories to treasure, and lessons to grow from. Action always brings more clarity than 1,000 hours of thinking. You can't sit still and dream of a new life. You must get up, walk, stumble, and keep going. Thoughts shape your reality, but only action turns dreams into truth. The life you're living now is merely a reflection of the mindset within. If you're filled with fear, life will be filled with obstacles. If you cultivate gratitude and hope, the world will treat you more gently. Remember, your past is a story only you fully understand. Don't reveal it too easily. Not everyone has a heart wide enough to empathize, and not everyone is kind enough to keep it safe. Nietzsche once said, "No one can fully understand another's pain because they've never worn that person's shoes." Sometimes your past in the wrong hands becomes a weapon used against you. Tomorrow can be completely different if you choose to change and take action today. But if all you do is complain, wallow in negativity, and blame circumstances, then your future will only be a dull copy of your present. Sometimes life sends you signs, through setbacks, failures, and your loneliest moments, to remind you of who you are and where you're going. But if you keep rushing forward without pausing to listen to yourself, you may lose your way in your own life. Rest assured, life will never unfold exactly as planned. But as philosopher Soren Kierkegaard said, life can only be understood backward, but it must be lived forward. And that's the most beautiful thing. Uncertainty is the launch pad for the most unexpected possibilities. I once believed I had hit rock bottom, sitting alone in an empty room, thinking everything had collapsed. But it was in those moments that I met my teachers. Sometimes in strangers, sometimes in pain itself. They gave me lessons that helped me rise again. And perhaps what I share today is the very lesson you need most. Don't assume someone is for you or against you. People act out of self-interest. They love when it serves them and leave when it's more convenient. That doesn't make you smaller. It helps you see the true nature of relationships. What's behind you, whether beautiful or painful, is just the foundation. Believe me, what's ahead will always be better, as long as you don't abandon yourself. Sometimes the best choice is to walk away. Don't fear letting people go or ending relationships. Some chapters must close so you can begin new ones with a lighter heart. You won't truly know who your real friends are until you hit your lowest point. When all the glamour fades, when the joy disappears, only those who stay are worthy of being called friends. And the only way out of all pain and trials is through. There are no shortcuts, no easy miracles, but you are far stronger than you think. Look back. You've survived every worst day of your life, and up until this very moment, you are still standing. So what else is there to fear? No one can look after you better than yourself. You're the only one who truly knows your limits, your wounds, and your deepest longings. When you dare to face your fears, you'll realize most of them were just illusions magnified by your mind. From hardship, miracles are born. Even a seed needs storms to learn how to rise. Believing you can is already half the journey. It's not just a saying, it's a truth the greatest people have lived. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before lighting up the world, but it was unwavering belief that carried him through. Not everyone you meet has good intentions. Life isn't short of hypocrites, of those who come only to steal your energy and trust. But that doesn't mean you must shut your heart forever. Stay aware, but never lose your kindness. The days when you feel like doing nothing, when you can't even get out of bed, are exactly the days you need to take action. That's when you're testing your inner strength, building discipline, the sharpest weapon against stagnation. The only things you can control are your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Everything else is external, and external things are never in your hands. Don't try to change others. It almost never works. People only change when they see the reason for themselves, not when you force them to. The hardships you're going through aren't meant to defeat you. They're training you to become extraordinary. Just as fire tests gold, adversity refines the soul. The future belongs to those who dare to believe in the beauty of their dreams. Don't be afraid to dream big, because as Oscar Wilde said, "We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars." Sometimes you only find your true path when you're brave enough to let go, to let the wind take you to unknown lands, to experiences you've never had. And carve this deep into your heart. Never sacrifice your growth, your freedom, or your identity for anyone. Not for love, friendship, or even family. Because if being with them means losing yourself, it was never the right relationship to begin with. The toughest roads often lead to the most beautiful destinations, because if it were easy, everyone would get there. Sometimes you must choose to turn the page, to write a new chapter, or to close the book entirely. When you walk out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. You'll be stronger, wiser, and know your worth. Courage is the root of all virtues. Without it, honesty is just a word and love remains only a dream. Be wise. Most people will deceive you if given the chance. But that doesn't mean you should close your heart. Trust, but verify. Love, but set boundaries. You don't drown by falling into water, but by staying in it. Life is full of risks. The biggest one is never daring to try. Every new level in life requires an upgraded version of yourself. The first step is always faith. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. Remember Martin Luther King's words, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Never let anyone make you feel unworthy of your dreams. The greatest danger is living too cautiously, only to look back and realize your life passed by in silence. The most important thing is learning to rise after every fall. Bad days build the foundation for brighter ones if you don't give up. Focus on becoming better instead of judging others. Life is already complicated. Don't make it messier with petty comparisons. The hardest lesson is realizing not everyone wants you to succeed. But that's exactly what makes your success so meaningful. Happiness and sadness aren't constants. They're comparisons between moments. Only those who have truly despaired understand the depth of overwhelming joy. Hardship is a disguised gift. Inside it lies strength, wisdom, and resilience. Stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios in your head. Reality is always different from imagination. People come and go like the wind. Some become distant memories, others leave lasting marks. You can't control it, only accept it. The greatest healing comes when you learn to forgive others and yourself. Keep a little naivety to enjoy life and a little wisdom to avoid grave mistakes. Hardship doesn't create heroes, but it reveals them. Happiness isn't the absence of problems. It's the ability to face and overcome them. And the bravest act is letting go of the past to live fully for today's dream. Nothing changes until you do. You may think you know someone, but often you only know what you want to believe. Life is built on trade-offs. You can't gain something without losing something else. Instead of worrying about what's out of your control, focus on what you can create with your own hands and mind. Maturity is when you stop complaining, stop making excuses, and start changing. Not everything can be understood immediately. Sometimes you need time and patience. The most painful goodbyes are often doors to your freedom. You're not predestined to be anyone. You decide that, with R1 of the thread. You can be important on a subject takes its change. Even if compositing begin to immediately, moves about 500s. God loves of everyone of the time. If you on life you said, with clear goals, passion will fuel your journey. Life becomes gentler when you realize you don't need to know everything, and you don't need to pretend you do. Be the reason someone smiles, believes in kindness, and feels worthy of love. It's never too late to reinvent yourself. Sometimes you must let go of a part of your old self to discover true happiness. Obstacles aren't excuses to stop. If there's a wall, climb over it, go around it, or break it down. You may not always get what you want, but if you persist, you'll get what you need. The first step to going far is deciding you can't stay where you are. The hardest lesson? Knowing when to cross a bridge and when to burn it for good. Lessons come when you're truly ready. Facing your emotions brings more peace than any act of escape. If you believe in something, stand for it, fight for it. Be mindful of your thoughts when alone and your words in a crowd. If you don't live your own life, someone else will live it for you, their way. Gratitude for what you already have is the strongest foundation for pursuing anything new. Life's biggest lesson: dreams don't come true by themselves, only action makes them real. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you just can't fit in. And maybe that's not a failure, but a sign that your path is meant to be different. It's better to walk alone on a lonely path than to lose yourself in a crowd that was never meant for you. Every journey has its end. Don't rush toward the destination, because some lessons only appear when you slow down, when you take the time to listen to yourself amidst life's crossroads. They say when one door closes, another opens. But most of us keep staring at the closed door, filled with regret, anger, and doubt, without noticing that new opportunities are quietly waiting just beside it. Learn to trust your intuition. That quiet voice is an ancient survival instinct passed down through generations. It knows what's best for you, even when the world tries to convince you otherwise. Never underestimate anyone on your journey. You never know when they might leave. And worse, you may never realize how much they meant to you until they're truly gone. True challenges are mirrors of growth. Don't run from them. It's through hardship that you learn lessons no book could ever teach. You are the only person who can be both your best friend and your worst enemy. The choice is yours. Will you nourish compassion within, or let doubt and fear drown you? You cannot control the actions of others, but you always have the power to choose your response. That is the highest form of freedom you possess. Don't cry because something ended. Smile because it once was. Sometimes you have to lose everything, your safety, relationships, even what you thought you couldn't live without, just to finally find your true self. Maturity doesn't come with time, but from the ability to learn and understand the harshest lessons adversity offers. In your darkest moments, you'll discover that your resilience is far greater than you ever imagined. You must speak up for yourself. No one else can protect you, understand you, or fight for you better than you. You cannot save someone who refuses to save themselves. There comes a time when you realize trying forever means nothing if the other person chooses to stay still and deny change. Your life isn't written in any book. It's pieced together and reshaped every day by decisions, big and small, and sometimes even by mistakes. There's no perfect plan, only the consequences of today's choices. Be mindful of your kindness. Kindness is a precious resource, but it has limits. This world is not short of those who will exploit your generosity for their own gain. You can let pain turn you into a victim, or you can emerge from it as a warrior, someone who has learned how to save themselves. The most valuable thing you have is not money or fame, but time spent with the people you truly love. Don't let the rush of life make you forget that. Happiness doesn't come from gaining what you never had. It comes from the moment you pause, look around, and whisper gratitude for what is already here. Your future is not a vague concept. It is built from a past you've come to understand and the lessons you've learned to transform into strength. No one is coming to rescue you. You must be the one to act, to change. And once you realize that, life stops feeling random. It becomes a journey you're truly in charge of. In the end, what truly matters is not just being strong or successful, but becoming a kind, decent human being. You may not control everything that happens, but you always have the power to choose, to live with integrity, to protect your compassion, and to never lose your kindness in a world full of chaos and competition. Because real strength is not about defeating others. It's about walking through pain and failure, yet still keeping a heart that knows how to love and eyes that know how to see the good in people. So stay kind, stay true to yourself, because on that journey, even in loneliness or hardship, you are slowly becoming the best version of who you were meant to be.